Hello and welcome to NOV Live. I'm Michael Gaines and glad you're joining us today as we continue our conversation, bringing you technologies and technical experts to provide perspectives on the technologies that are helping shape our world and the people that are behind them. So glad you're going to be joining us today as we actually have a great conversation with an area of NOV that some may know well, and some may in the area of some of the pole product technologies. So we have a great guest today and look forward to getting your questions and comments in today's show. So speaking of comments, of course, we couldn't do the show without NOV's social media expert, Shelby Dumaine. So Shelby, good to see you today.
It's good to see you too, Michael. As always, I love doing this show, so I'm very happy to be here. If you are watching online and you want to get involved with the show as well, you can do so whether you're on Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube by commenting below. So if you have a question at any point for our guest, or he knows I like to do this, put him in the hot seat, even for Michael, if you have a question for our guest or for Michael, just let us know in the comments at any point throughout the show. And then I'm in there, I'm watching, I'm seeing what everybody's saying, gathering those comments. And then at the end, we will do a live Q&A. And I always like to say, just if you want to test it out, even if you don't have a question just yet, go ahead and let us know where you're watching from. That's also one of my favorite things to check out and see where in the world our viewers are from. We're here in Houston. Our guest is calling in today from California, and we love to see where everybody else is watching from. So later on, if you ever wanted to watch a past episode of NOV Live, you can check those out as well at nov.com/live. That link is on the screen now. So it's nov.com/live. You can watch all past episodes. And if you have a question on any of those episodes, you can always email us. I like to say, we have all of those experts. They don't go anywhere. We still have them. And so if you watch a past episode, even if it's from a year ago, and you say, well, I have a question about that, I want to know more, please feel free to email us at socialmedia@nov.com. So that's on the screen, socialmedia@nov.com, and we would love to hear from you. Anyways, that's all the ways you can ask us your questions. But now is the time of the show where we ask you a question. It's time for Rig Geek Post of the Week.
Rig Geek's Post of the Week.
All right. And this week we actually have a photo that's going to go along with the Rig Geek question. And, as always, it's a little bit of a hint about what we're going to be talking about. So this is a photo of a concrete pole. And I would like to ask our Rig Geeks, where was this photo taken? I know there's some hints there. We see a bridge. We got a street name. If you look close, there's palm trees breezing in the wind. But where do you think this photo is taken? Let us know in the comments. And at the end of the show, we're going to reveal the answer. So stick around for that. That's
pretty good. And this time I made sure that I did not see the answer ahead of time. So I only got a quick glimpse. I'm just throwing out my guess now so I don't get distracted later. I'm going to say somewhere maybe Southern California is my guess. Okay. But exactly where, I'll admit my geography ineptitude here. But I'm going to assume Southern California, but I don't know. We'll see.
There are palm trees in California. There are also palm trees in Florida.
So you just keep the mystery going. There it is. All right, cool. Well, thanks, Shelly. We really appreciate it. All right. Well, as we talked about earlier, we are going to be having a conversation today about pole products, and who better than to have the president of Pole Products here at NOV, and we have Alex Besse, who will be joining us today. So Alex, thanks for being on the program today.
Thank you, Michael, for having me.
Yeah, it's our pleasure. So I'm always a fan of getting a little background on folks that are able to come on the show. And so for those that may not have had the opportunity to talk with you, do you mind maybe sharing a little bit about your role here at NOV?
Yeah, no, I'd love to do that. So I've been with NOV for 15 years. And as you mentioned, I currently serve as the president of our Amron Pole Products business. I started with NOV in 2005. And most of my career with NOV has been in the oil and gas sector, from managing capital projects to working with our subsea products. So when I was given the opportunity to lead our pole products team, I was actually not even aware that we provided these products and these services from NOV. So I'm very excited to be here to share more about what we do, because this is a very exciting business. You know, we actually support infrastructure in the United States and other countries. So yeah, I'm eager to share more.
Yeah, well, I mean, and maybe to your point there, yeah, there are some folks, as you've already mentioned, that may be familiar, but kind of like to your experience, some aren't as familiar with some of the technologies and product offerings that your team is providing. So, do you mind just taking a moment and talking a little bit about what it is that your team's able to provide, and what that looks like from a product standpoint, maybe even industry and customer?
Yeah. So, you know, just sharing a little bit about the company. Amron has a long history. You know, its earliest antecedents can be tracked back to over 100 years, providing concrete products. We now have been producing concrete poles specifically for over 50 years. So we provide pre-stressed spun cast concrete poles in many different styles and finishes. And we take into consideration the aesthetic requirements of our customers, but also the technical requirements for our customers. So this is actually a technical product. Pre-stressing greatly increases both the strength and the resilience of our poles. And you can see a lot of these different styles in the video that's playing right now. And these poles are beautiful and strong.
And so, yeah, being someone who is admittedly not a poles expert, one question I have is why you mentioned strength a lot. Why go through the effort of really making them as strong as they are?
Yeah, that's a great question. So concrete will usually crack if you try to bend it. So the pre-stressing allows the concrete to bend instead of crack when it sees, for example, higher loads like wind loads. When the wind subsides or that load is taken off the pole, then the pole is pulled back, and any microfractures that are created are actually sealed and healed. So as an example, these poles are installed in areas like Florida, where they'll see hurricane strength winds. And, you know, in videos, you'll see the poles being pulled back, almost like a palm tree, just swaying in the wind. But after that event, they'll, just be pulled back to their original condition, and they'll be fine. They can continue operating. Mm-hmm. So that's one of the reasons.
Yeah, no, I guess that makes sense. Maybe if I had spent a little more time thinking through it, I would have come to the same conclusion, but that totally makes sense. And I like the fact that it sounds like your team's really put a lot of thought and effort into that. The other maybe aspect to the poles that your team provides is really that really piqued my interest, is really around the environmentally conscious component that goes into your designs and products. Can you talk a little more about that?
Yes, so we're actually very proud that these poles can be recycled and reused at the end of their life. Mm-hmm. So we recycle the waste from damaged streetlight poles, and we separate all that material. So after separation of the components, usually steel and the concrete, the steel is recycled and the concrete is ground up and actually used on other street and highway projects. We also recycle our steel poles as well. These poles, our concrete poles, last a long time. We actually know of poles that have been in service for over 30 years and still look like new. So what we're recycling is usually poles that have been maybe hit by a car or have been damaged in some other way.
Mm. So you mentioned steel poles as well. What does that space look like? So obviously the concrete spun poles are a great product and offering, but you also provide some offerings in the steel space. Is that right?
That is true. We provide tapered steel pole for streetlight applications, roadway lighting, traffic structures, and distribution poles. For the transportation market, these poles meet the Department of Transportation specifications in the states and cities where we operate. And another cool thing, Michael, is that Amron's been providing steel poles for over 80 years. And that is something that many people don't know. We have a long history of providing steel products, and our process is state of the art. You're seeing it in the video here, some of what we do. And yeah, and it's high quality and serves a lot of the US.
So we're going to take a moment just to recognize those that have tuned in with us here today. We are talking to Alex Besse, who is the president of Pole Products here at NOV. And we are talking all things pole product related. So if you have a question about anything that Alex has touched on, or have a question of your own, feel free to put that in the comment section anytime during our conversation, whether you're watching us on LinkedIn, Facebook, or YouTube. And we'll try to see if we can't get Shelby to get as many of those questions in for Alex during our conversation today. So Alex, I also wanted to touch on an aspect that I find I think it's all interesting, but this even more so intrigues me, is really looking at the industries that you're a part of, where you have the ability to support customers and applications and entities, not necessarily just in one space, but in several.
That is true. So our core markets are the transportation market, the utility market, the telecommunications market, commercial and industrial development, and we support many municipalities around the country as well. And we do intermodal as well, so airports and ports. So we are certainly in many different places. Our end users really end up being the communities that are using our products for lighting roadways, for security, for traffic control. Think about going to a park, in the evening. So for park illumination, for communications, and so many more applications. We also, however, provide fiberglass poles as well. So we do concrete, steel, and fiberglass. And for fiberglass specifically, we do that for the distribution and telecom markets.
Have you been able to see some of your products out and about, like when you're out visiting somewhere? I just think it's really cool to be able to have a product where you can actually see it, and many people, it's almost like hidden in plain sight sometimes.
I think that is actually one of the really cool things about working for this business unit. When we work, I've worked in rigs and drill ships and lots of other applications in NOV, you really can't share that with your family, right? You get on a plane, you're gone for 2, 3, 4, however many weeks, and then you come back. And it's a bit of, just this idea of what you do. And when I moved to California, I was just a very warm moment with my children, walking on the street. And specifically here in California, we probably provide and install about 99% of the poles here. So going down the street, just on a walk to the park, I could actually tell my kids, I work on this, along with, of course, a team of really talented and great people. But to me, that's amazing. You see these poles that we build everywhere.
Yeah, and I'm sure that's exciting, not only to you and to the rest of your team, but I appreciate seeing and hearing the pride and passion that you have for those products. So that's really, really encouraging and really neat to see. I know that you're certainly focused on the here and now and providing the needs for your customers and end users today. But I also know that you and your team are also constantly looking ahead and looking towards the future on continuing to innovate and provide new solutions. So in that regard, could you talk a little bit to the degree to which we can about some of the things that you and the team are working on or looking towards in the future.
Yes. So one of the innovative technologies that we're working on are small cell poles. And we're working on those for 4G densification and 5G expansion in the telecommunications industry. And this product really supports the need for better communication networks, as we've all realized with being, at home and needing better internet or bandwidth. And also this supports the evolution of smart city solutions. So that's very exciting. We also are working on wildfire-resistant distribution poles. These help utilities strengthen their grid in wildfire-prone areas. And another product that's not new, but these distribution poles, we not only do the wild-resistant, which is we're working on new technologies to make them even more fire resistant, but we also provide these distribution poles for areas where wood distribution poles have a high degradation rate. So either it could be because of weather, because of wildfire, and even termites. So certainly some new technologies being developed, and we're working on a few more that I can't talk about, but you'll be hearing about
and I'm glad that's always music to my ears. Things I can't talk about, I'll take it. But I know that it's always good stuff. So I appreciate what you are and did share with us. You mentioned that, and we've talked a lot about the different industries and entities. And it's my understanding that Amaron is also working with utilities to help in that space. What does that look like?
Well, we've been partnering with utilities for decades to build designs and specifications for their poles that meet their technical requirements, as well as the aesthetics for the communities they serve. But we go beyond the pole, and that's kind of exciting to me because we don't just provide the pole, we also provide delivery services and installation services for those poles. So we can do as little as deliver the pole, or we can manage full lighting projects for our customers. So as an example, for one of our utility customers, we manage their full installation program for their new lighting projects, as well as their knockdowns. And we'll do pre-surveys of the areas of installation. We'll help match the pole with the existing aesthetic that is there already. And we do this for utilities, but we can also do this for many of our other customers, like municipalities, electrical distributors, or even privately funded projects. So we're a little bit different in that we don't only manufacture the poles, but we provide services beyond that, even helping support existing infrastructure for those customers.
Which I'm sure is a welcome a capability for those that are looking, to your point, having a spectrum of needs from maybe as like you said, as little as delivery to a full scope of services. So that's really cool to hear, and I'm sure a team just as passionate as you've demonstrated today about providing those products and services. So that's really great to hear. So I know that one of the challenges that we have is we're not always able to convey everything that we want to on the program. I've tried many times, but I think it behooves us to try to give folks a bit of information, but also an easier way to connect. So in that regard, what would be the best way if someone's watching this, whether they're live now or in the future when they're watching the replay, how best should they reach out to get some information or just get in contact with you?
Yeah, so you can certainly learn more about us going to our website at amaronpoles.com. And you can also send an email to poleproducts@nov.com. So those are two great ways to reach out to us.
All right, great. No, and I appreciate the simplicity of it. It sounds almost too easy, but that's how it should be. So that's great. Well, I know in talking through our conversation and kind of glancing over, I know that we had some conversation going on here. So I'm going to go ahead and bring in Shelby Dumaine to help give us some of the Q&A that we had during our conversation.
Absolutely. Yeah. So on LinkedIn, Jenny asked, I know you talked about wind and wildfire, but are there any other hazards that these poles can withstand? And can you talk to those?
Yeah, so we also designed the poles to be able to carry a lot of equipment. So for example, for our small cell poles, it's not just the pole, but there's a lot of equipment that goes in it. So they're designed to carry the antennas, the 5G equipment for the new, the new 5G. So they're designed. Now, there are specific applications that our customers will use these poles for, and we will engineer these poles to meet those exact specifications. So they can be, it's lots of different application uses, and we design specifically for those.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Well, I appreciate you answering the audience questions. Those are always great to see those. And we also got a few comments of people that maybe this is the first time they're hearing some of this information or seem really interested. So I appreciate you coming on. I know our audience really, really enjoyed it. So back to you, Michael.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. And I will. Yeah. Like I said, I'm scanning through and I think I see a similar comment. Leroy says, wildfire utility distribution poles sounds really, really interesting. And I would concur because I know that, there are some things that we can control. There are some things that we have less control over, but, being able to provide a product that can help support, critical infrastructure is a really, really great thing that the Amaron's able to do.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really good. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, this is an exciting business. So I just wanted to thank you guys for the opportunity to share more about pole products with everyone watching. And I think it's exciting that NOV is in these industrial spaces that maybe not everybody knows about.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So, and just to follow up one more time, Alex, if folks want to find more information, I know we had the email address, but what's the website again for those that want to check it out?
Yeah, the website is amaronpoles.com.
Okay, perfect. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, we appreciate the questions, of course, from the audience and the feedback and insight from you, Alex, and look forward to talking to you again in the future as we continue to develop new products and offerings, including in the future talking about the ones that we couldn't talk about. So that'll be great. So great. Well, we've been talking with Alex Besse, who is the president of Pole Products here at NOV. And so now we're going to go back to Shelby to get the answer to our question today that I did not know the answer to, just guessing based on my really great photographic scanning and interpretation skills, geography skills. That is not true. But I'm sure the viewers did way better than I did. So where's the, let's do the picture again, Shelby. So folks who may have come in a little later, what was the question?
So we asked where this photo was taken, and I was also corrected. So it's both concrete and steel poles there in the picture. So always ready for to get more specific on that. But the palm trees maybe gave it away. Michael, you got it right. Southern California.
Oh man.
More specifically, Ventura, California, which we did actually have a correct guess in the comments that got the city and state.
Well, that's pretty good. Yeah, I'll and I need to do more of these where I don't know the answer ahead of time because I feel pretty good. No, that's great. All right. Well, thanks, Shelby. And I did want to actually ask Shelby real quick. So I know that we're going to be having episodes that folks can see, including this one after today. Where can people who are watching go to see today's conversation with Alex again or other conversations?
Absolutely. The best place to find all past episodes will always be nov.com/live. So they can go check it out. We have all of them uploaded there. And then also, if anybody wants to ask a question, I know when they're not live, it's like, well, if I comment, will they see it? So the best way, if you want to have a question on a past episode, is actually to email us at socialmedia@nov.com. And we're going to make sure that whatever expert was on the show that you want to get that question answered, we'll get that to them.
All right, great. All right. Well, thanks, Shelby. And thank you for joining us today here on NOV Live. We always appreciate your feedback, comments, and suggestions for future topics. So from all of us here at NOV, thanks for watching and for listening, and we'll talk to you again next time.